He's also got a problem with Jews who are not real Jews, as far as I can tell.
The only problem Ben Shapiro has with Jews that I have seen is those Jews aren't actual Jews. They're just cultural Jews or ethnically Jewish. They're not actual Jews. And there's nothing wrong with saying that because they really aren't Jewish. Howdy y'all, before we get back to the video, I would like it if you guys could please share my content with everyone you know so I can reach my goal of 500 subscribers before the end of this year. Now let's get on with the cancer.
Again, I don't like the language of invasion, and I don't believe I've used it. If I had, I'm sorry I did, because I don't think that it is correct, but I'm fairly certain I never did, because I never considered it a quote-unquote invasion when illegal immigrants cross our southern border. But, and I certainly don't believe in the idea of quote-unquote racial replacement, because I literally do not care about the races of people who live in America. I care about their ideas and their ideology.
Pause it for 1 second. He obviously doesn't care, too, that that type of ideology is one that is actually embraced by those replacement folks.
Citation needed.
I'm glad that he feels bad that if he used the word invasion, he didn't mean it because, but listen to why he said that. Because I don't think it is an invasion.
I just point out he did use it about Palestinians before.
So. Oh, okay. Well, Palestinians, that's all right, because they're subhuman.
That's because there are terrorists among the Palestinians. While it's not quite the same with Mexican immigrants, I think there's a little bit of a difference there.
But the New York Times decides that because there is language that sounds similar to stuff that Tucker Carlson has said, they are now going to attribute this shooter to Tucker. Quote, an extensive New York Times review of popular right-wing media platforms found hundreds of examples of language, ideas, and ideologies that overlapped with the mass killer's written statement, a shared vocabulary of intolerance that stokes fears centered on immigrants of color. Okay, again, this is a conspiracy theory.
Pause it. There's no conspiracy theory whatsoever that he's just articulated. Wait a second. This is the guy who's supposed to be the intellectual pillar of the right?
The cool kid's philosopher.
He's 100 times smarter than you, dumbass. And I think the point he's trying to get at is that they're trying to say that Tucker Carlson is an alt-right Nazi. That's the conspiracy they're trying to show. They're trying to say that he's dog whistling, and that's utter bull.
Popular right-wing media platforms found hundreds of examples of language, ideas, and ideologies that overlapped with the mass killer's written statement, a shared vocabulary of intolerance that stokes fears centered on immigrants of color. Okay, again, this is a conspiracy theory.
No, it isn't.
And the conspiracy theory, this one, is deliberately designed in order to link together basic conservative tropes about immigration with white supremacism. This is how you end up with the Washington Post running a piece today on their front page about how evil the Trump administration is for cracking down on welfare use by legal immigrants.
Now, wait a second. He doesn't refute any of that. It is not a conspiracy. The New York Times wasn't saying that everyone got into a room and decided to use this language. The fact that these are basic, what he calls conservative tropes, well, maybe you should start asking yourself, what is the relationship between conservatism and white supremacy?
Nothing. Like, literally nothing. White supremacists often have more in common with communists because most white supremacists are socialists.
It's a story on advice. Why won't Twitter treat white supremacy like ISIS? Because it would mean banning some Republican politicians too.
Right, of course.
No, it wouldn't, because none of them have said anything that is racist. You dumb, racist ass.
It's not a conspiracy theory to say that we have white supremacists in the highest levels of our government.
Oh, you're a idiot, you dumb.
Well, but that's not even relevant. I mean, it's the idea that they're not self-identified white supremacists is irrelevant. The point is,
it kind of is if they aren't actual white supremacists, because they haven't shown anything to be that of a white supremacist. You utter moron.
But Ben Shapiro went on to say, oh my God, OMG. He's really down with the kids. He's younger.
He's younger. He's the
He's
cool
younger,
kid's
so he
hip
knows.
philosopher, was it? I forget what the title said.
And OMG. The guy who owns Equinox favors, I'm surprised he didn't say faves, but whatever. Equinox favors a candidate half the country doesn't like. The only solution is politically segregated gyms. Surely that will be good for the country. And the idea is that somehow, like, you've politicized everything.
They have.
Of some more news.
Of some more news fame on YouTube. Just wrote back, Ben, period. And retweeted Ben Shapiro tweeting, I canceled my Sports Illustrated subscription after 16 years last year because of the leftist politics. And so Ben Shapiro.
Nothing hypocritical there. One is a guy's political views. Another is a company pushing its political views on its product. Those are very different things.
Hi, my good friend Ben Shapiro, who has not muted me, and thus everyone knows that you're reading this. Just thought I'd pop in to remind you of the times you organized boycotts against Mozilla and Ritz Crackers, despite having no issue with the quality or content of their products. And here's a story. Ben Shapiro's website protests Mozilla after co-founder's resignation over Prop 8. Now, that's weird. That seems somewhat inconsistent with the point that Ben just made.
Yeah, was Mozilla's content get into a Prop 80 or something?
Yeah.
To anti-Prop 80.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because you know that some of the HTML I heard at that point, like if you tried to bold anything on your website, it would just immediately redirect you to an anti-Prop 8 site. And then, of course, there was this.
That was also not hypocritical because Ben Shapiro was boycotting because the co-founder's resignation over Prop 8. The co-founder had to resign. That is why Ben Shapiro was protesting against that. He was not protesting against the Prop 8. He was protesting over the fact that the co-founder had to resign. It literally says in that title of that article, you dumb.
Almost 20 years ago, Al Sharpton referred to Caucasians as crackers while speaking at Keene College. And this is from Time magazine. So, of course, nearly 2 decades later, conservative activists have called for a boycott of Ritz Crackers, which advertises on Sharpton's MSNBC show. Sharpton doesn't dislike all crackers. Boycott leader and Breitbart news editor Ben Shapiro writes on the Truth Revolt website.
I will give you this one. This was hypocritical. However, of the recording of your video here, which was made in August 2019, this was almost 6 years ago. That's a long time to change opinions. And it still doesn't mean Ben Shapiro is wrong. Which he isn't wrong in this case about that stupid boycott of that gym. You dumb racist mother.
Pales in comparison to the fact that intergenerational poverty is largely a function at this point in American life of individual choice. 17, 18-year-old people who are making poor decisions to impregnate women and then leave.
Wow.
Or commit crimes. How that is a legacy of Jim Crow or slavery as opposed to today, people born in the year 2000 and beyond, people committing crimes, how that is supposed to be recompensed by a Jewish immigrant who arrived in 1910. How you even work this is how do you justify something like that? How do you blame somebody who is not involved in a crime for a crime that was done to somebody else's great-great-great-great-great-grandparents? How do you make that happen? It's nearly impossible.
Well, you make it happen by a efficient, smart federal program that will redistribute wealth in a targeted way. And there's a variety of ways you could do this. Once again, if you read the Doherty piece, which Ben has not.
There is no way. A large percentage of African Americans, for one, are biracial because they have some white ancestry. And even if you are able to figure all that out, it still is bullshit because they don't deserve that money. They didn't go through that. Their grandparents and great-grandparents went through things like Jim Crow and segregation, but they didn't. and nearly all of them are dead. And as for slavery, no one f***ing today is alive from then. So f*** your reparations, you mother f***ing racist.
Ben Shapiro, I am definitely not saying that everybody who questions the policy implications of reparations is a racist. I would include myself in that in some ways. I would say you are a racist, along with Mitch McConnell. So let me just, in my opinion.
On what grounds is he a racist? Show me the evidence. Show me. And don't give me religion, because that does not count. Religion is not a race. So, show me where he's a racist. At least one. Because I can show you where you're a racist this entire f***ing video. I hate you mother f***ers. You guys are dumb ass mother f***ing f***ers. God, can you be any more stupid? Ugh, this ass cancer is, it's just, I'm done. Okay? If you liked the video, please give it a like. Also, please help me reach my goal of 500 before the end of this year. Do all that. And I'll see you all later. Ugh, I need to hit my head on something. The cancer.